Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet right here on Metal Messiah Radio. Today we have a special guest with us. We have Samantha Landa of the Canadian metal band Dead Asylum. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Thank you so much. I am so stoked to be here with you right now.
So, Samantha, the last time I got to see you, you were filling in on drums with Nervosa. So how did that all come about? Tell us a little bit about that real quick.
Yeah, it kind of came out of the blue. So I got a message on Facebook from Fernanda. We hadn't met before officially. I'd seen the band earlier that year and liked the music a lot, but she contacted me on Facebook and said, hey, our drummer just quit the band and we're at the end of the European tour and we need to come to North America in a week. You think you could learn our stuff and maybe join us? And at the time, I mean, I don't generally do a lot of sessions. I'm just so busy in my everyday life, and I've got Dead Asylum, and so I've just been focusing on that. So I thought, well, this would be a really good challenge. I like the band. It sounds like they need help, and so that's basically what happened. I sent them some videos. I learned the set in about 5 days. They sent me a ticket to Montreal. I flew out, and then we did the North America tour, and then we went to Europe with Destruction.
So you got a lot of traveling in, if nothing else.
Yeah, no, I mean, the whole thing was amazing. Like, they were so much fun to play with. I love playing their stuff. They're amazing women. I miss them dearly. It was just such fun. The other bands we toured with were great. The whole experience was awesome. The fans are awesome. I met you as well on the tour. And just a number of things all came together really nicely. And I mean, I really have to thank Tony from Municipal Waste for the recommendation, because without him, I don't think they would have found me.
And it was great. It was like you were in the band the whole time. And it's like you said, just out of nowhere, their drummer is gone, and they're like scrambling for a drummer, and then it's like Super Samantha to the rescue.
Oh, stop it. You'll make me blush. I don't blush, but if I did.
But it was just, and it's like you said, it was super fun to watch you guys, and just, even like the chemistry was really good amongst all of you too, so it was fun for the audience,
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I'm glad.
It was a great time. Okay, so Sam, tell us a little bit about yourself now. Like, how old were you when you started playing drums? And was drums your first instrument?
Right. I'll give it to you chronologically. Drums wasn't my first instrument, so I started with classical piano, and I started playing around age 3 or 4. When like you're still so little that you don't have a say in your hobbies and activities, and your parents are like, you're going to play piano just like the rest of the family. And so I played classical piano, took lessons for almost 10 years. And then I was about 11 when I started playing drums, and I started in school band. And I was actually kind of I don't know if I was trying to prove something to myself or somebody else, but it was I guess 5th grade, and I went to the meeting for band class, and I know this is not a very sexy metal drummer story. 5th grade band class meeting with the music teacher, and they were talking about the instruments that were available, and I said, well, what's the hardest instrument to learn? Because I didn't have piano. I mean, like, who do I think I am? And they said, well, probably out of these instruments, drums or French horn. So, of course, it came down to, well, what's less expensive? And because I didn't need to buy my own drums, they had a kit at school. They said, well, it'll be like, buy a pair of sticks, get a $20 practice pad, get a book, and that's it. And so it was like, all right, sign me up. And as long as, but it was under the condition that I don't ask for my own drums. Of course, a few years later, I'm like, can I get my own drums? And I'll take them to my garage, where spiders fall on you every time you play. And that's how it started.
So what was your first drum kit? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was a 5-piece Westbury kit. And I had that for years. I mean, I played it during high school for the most part. And then it just sat in a corner when I got my tamas. And eventually I just didn't know what to do with it. So I heard somebody that there was like a group of kids who, I think kids living in poverty who want to learn music. And so I just was like, great. Here, take these, please. And so I hope they're getting good use, because I definitely did not practice on them as much as I should have.
So what were some of the bands then that inspired you to go out and get your own drum kit and go in the garage and start playing?
At the time, I just started getting into kind of like the pop punk kind of stuff, like the mainstream, like Gob, Green Day, Blink-182, that kind of stuff. So like relatively simple kind of basic punk beat drums. So I started getting to like NoFX, Pennywise, Rancid. I was also listening to bands like Kitty, and of course, because they were all girls, and I was like, ooh, yeah, I could do that too. And yeah, so I think I was probably 15 or so when I got my first kit.
And okay, so what were some of the bands then that you started joining up before you were in Dead Asylum?
Oh man, some terrible bands. Well, some weren't that bad, or maybe I was terrible. I was a terrible player for a long time. Oh man, I mean, I could probably still list off the bands. I mean, no one's heard of them, but I think the first band I played with was the Unified, and I was 15, and we recorded in like something that it looked like a crack shack from the outside, but inside there was a great little studio. And then there was a band called Life Without Water. We were kind of like grunge pop. Indie, I don't know. I was in a ska band called the Friday Nights during college. I was in a folk metal band called Scythia. Yeah, I mean, there's just been a number of, and there were some other bands in between. Yeah, just we didn't do much.
Tell us a little bit of the history now behind the band Dead Asylum. You know, when you started out, what the lineup is, and what you have out there.
Yeah, definitely. So Dead Asylum started with me and Mike in 2011. We started jamming. We knew each other just from like the Vancouver metal scene. Our old bands had played together, so we started jamming, writing music. So Mike is vocals and rhythm guitar, and so we needed a lead guitarist and a bassist, and we actually found another pair who was perfect. And the lead guitar also did vocals, and the bassist, and they came together. They'd been playing together for like ages. So the four of us got together, started writing together. So Dead Asylum officially was a thing in, I think it was like 2011, I don't know, September, October. And then, so we've had 2 lineup changes since then. So Mike and I are the only original members of Dead Asylum. We did release an album in 2013 called General Carnage. It started kind of as a joke. We were like, that would be a really brutal name. Like, it just tell it like it is. Like, what do you want? What's this album about? Oh, it's just about general carnage. And so that's the title of our debut album. And then we have a new, well, not new anymore, but new bass player, and who now takes over the secondary vocal duties, and that's Roger. He's also a killer lead guitarist, but so he's got another band where he does guitar. So he's bass and second vocals with us, and then we also brought on Eric Morrison on lead guitar at the end of 2016, and so he brings a really like neoclassical jazz kind of influences to the band, and and then we've just released the new album Death Always Wins 2017. I mean, we wanted to put out an album sooner. We put out a video for a single that's actually on the new album a little while back, but yeah, we just had to kind of figure out what's the direction of the band. We had some lineup changes, but I think that right now we're in a really good place to move forward.
And now you guys self-release this, right?
We did, yeah.
Now, are you looking for a label, or do you like to just be independent on your own?
We are actually looking for a label. We decided that rather than record it and shop it around and everything like that, I mean, it's been a few years since our first album. We've changed quite a bit. We thought that, you know what, it's been a while. Let's just put this out and see what kind of buzz that we can get around it as an independent release. If there's a label that's interested in supporting us, working with us, I mean, we're open to, if they wanted to re-record, re-release, or do another album. I mean, we're all for it. For us, it's the reason that we're looking for that kind of support is because there's only so much that we, I guess, really want to do ourselves. We're perfectly capable of it, and we're planning our own month-long U.S. tour that's coming up in August, September. We're working the best we can with the resources that we have, but I think that we really want to step it up a notch. We want to tour more. We really want to bring the band to the next level. So I think for that, we're going to be looking for some sort of support.
And like you said, this is your second album you did. Now, when you guys did this one this time around from the last album, did you do anything differently, or were you aiming for anything differently musically when writing this one?
Yeah, musically, I think just naturally we're more of a developed band. I think the songs are more developed and more purposeful. I think on the first album it was more of, here are the songs that we've got at the time, and let's record those and get those recorded and get those out. This time we were a bit more deliberate, I think, with the album. Same with our songwriting. Like, songwriting's come a long way since the first album. I think we're all better players. We have 2 new members since the last album, so I think it was just a matter of, you know what, let's be pickier this time. Let's put out something that we're proud of. Not that we weren't proud of the first album. We think it was a pretty good first album, but we really wanted to nail it this time and like I said before, bring it to the next level.
So Sam, tell us a little bit about some of the lyrical themes on this album.
Yeah, I mean, Mike writes most of the lyrics. Roger's also contributed some lyrics to this album as well. The whole theme of the band is like this kind of cold isolation, being trapped in your own head. There's also themes of like uprising against authority figures who are abusing their positions of power, stuff like that. I mean, if you put yourself into the eyes of someone in like a 19th century insane asylum, and you've got your own issues, but at the same time you're being mistreated, and there's some really crazy stuff going on, and all you want to do is just break out and rise up and reclaim your freedom. And so there's a lot of those themes in the lyrics on this album. For example, some of the songs, they focus more on that isolation feeling and being trapped. Some of them have to do with like Death Always Wins, for example, the title track. It sounds really depressing, but it's just about like just being realistic, and just you need to like the seize the day kind of concept, where in the end nothing really matters because death is going to win. So you should just kind of seize the day and take action now, because it's all the same in the end. So yeah.
So where did you guys record it? Did you do this locally, or?
Yeah, we did it locally. It's actually at our bass player Roger's studio. So he's got a studio just outside of Vancouver called Jam Factory Studios. So we recorded with him. He did all the tracking, engineering, editing, and then we sent it to our producer, who worked on our first album, and he is in the interior of British Columbia. So he's about a 5-hour drive.
So tell us a little bit now about the cover art and the artist, Sam. Yeah,
so the artwork was done by Pierre-Alain from 3MMI, hopefully I'm saying it right, Design. I just never know. If there's a bunch of letters and numbers, I say it wrong half the time. So he's based in France, actually, and I can't remember how we found him. Like, we like staying really organized. Like, I've got a spreadsheet with all these different artists, like designers, and this one really popped out to us. And he does these really cool, like, photo manipulation kind of collages where he takes like a bunch of little pieces from photos, but he also does some editing and some illustration, I believe, on top of them. Mm-hmm. So the album art for us is it's like a reaper. I mean, I look at it like he's standing over the gates of hell, presiding over this barren, desolate wasteland. And there's like little people kind of walking around zombie-like. The whole idea behind it too is so I mean the artist gave the piece a name, actually, and it was A Life for $1. And so there's a coffin with a crow on it and $1 on it, and then there's a sign as well that's got some dollar signs, and that really reflects also some of the themes of the band in general, and definitely themes on the album that have to do with money really doesn't matter, it shouldn't matter, it's just about like we should care more about freedom and doing what's right, reclaiming what's yours. So yeah, we feel like the album art really captures that desolate feeling that we want people to capture from both the lyrics and the sound of the music.
When this was all done and it's all mixed and mastered and you have it in your hand, were you happy with the final result, Sam?
Really happy, actually. My favorite thing to do with a new album is you play it in a vehicle and you really get the speakers really loud and you turn up the bass. I didn't get to do that this time. So first I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to my crappy computer speakers, and it still sounded good. So I thought, okay, if someone's listening on their crappy like MacBook Air speakers like me, then then if it still sounds okay, I'm still happy with it. It's going to sound really good on good speakers. I listen to it on some better speakers, listen to it in a few people's cars. I'm very happy with it, actually. And I'm really picky with like drum sounds and stuff like that, and kind of the polishing on those. So I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I think the rest of the band as well. We're all stoked.
Now, are you guys, you had mentioned something about how you were all kind of putting together a tour. Is there anything you could talk about that? I mean, you said you were going to like try to travel around the U.S. a little bit.
Yeah, we've got almost half. I think we've got half of it booked now, actually. So we're doing a U.S. tour August, September, and we're doing the whole thing, except, we're going coast to coast, but, covering as many cities as we can in that time. But we're starting in Spokane, we end in the Seattle, but we're going all the way out to, New York, D.C., we're going down to, like, Atlanta, New Orleans, back to, like, L.A., San Diego area, back up north. So that's currently in the works. I mean, we've got our visas approved for that. We've had that. Yeah. That's always a tough part for us international fans.
I know, we read the stories all the time. So you are making it kind of close to the East Coast then a little bit.
We're not going to be quite to the East Coast, but we're going to be close. So I'm hoping that some friends will have the time to drive down. If they don't, I understand. We're all busy, but we're getting as close as we can.
You're doing New York. You said hopefully somewhere around there. Massachusetts isn't really that far of a drive from there, Sam, really.
Yeah, and tell my friends in Massachusetts as well.
Because they're, it's not that far of a drive, and there's a lot of venues, so maybe we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Hey, you never know. We're going to see how the rest of the schedule shapes up, and if any dates fall through, we're going to be doing our best to play nearby and everything like that. So we've got half of the tour set in stone, and we're still working on securing the rest of the dates, but I will absolutely let you know.
Okay, awesome. Now, are you working on any other projects at the time, Sam?
Not currently. I'm probably going to be looking for something in addition, because I'm actually going to be living in Montreal for the next year or so, foreseeable future. So Dead Asylum wants to focus on touring. So I think that's going to be a really good kick in the pants, actually, that we're only going to play the shows that we really believe in. We're really going to be pushing the touring. But while I'm living in Montreal, it would be great to find a project there.
And what kind of drum kit are you currently playing on? I think you said Tama's?
Yeah, I play a Tama Star Classic Birch kit, so it's kind of the older model, before they came out with the Birch Bubinga or the Bubinga kits.
And are you pretty happy with this kit, or do you have your eyes on one of those Bubingas?
You know what? It's a beautiful wood.
I know,
It's a beautiful wood. I got the Birch kit. Oh, I've had this kit for a while, actually. At some point, I will probably be in the market for another kit. I love Tama's. I'm planning to stay with Tama. The Bubinga kits are beautiful. They're heavier, a little bit heavier, but they definitely have that nice warm, resonating sound to them. So,
So what's your current setup?
Yeah, I play a 6-piece, I guess. I have like this little dinky 8-inch tom that came from a different kit that it's kind of a bit of a Franken kit because of that. And it's a little bit out of place. So we're going to see if I keep that. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that in the setup. But it's like an 8, 10, 12, 14, 22-inch kick. Like it's a pretty standard Tama setup. And then I play Sabian cymbals, and I'd like some more splashes. I'm such a cymbal person. Anytime I see the extreme death metal drummers and they've got like 4 or 5 splashes, they've got like 8 crashes, 2 chinas, 2 rides, 2 sets of hi-hats, I'm like, oh, sign me up. But I don't have a bottomless wallet, and I don't like being in debt that much because I could easily just put it all on a credit card, and I'm very tempted. But I play some kind of odd size cymbals. I guess I have like a 17, 19. Everybody else seems to do the even numbers. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna be different. Any other drummer would be like, that's BS. That's just stupid. Who cares? but no, I mean, whatever. It's fine. The only symbol I have that's not a Sabian is a Zill bell. And I love this thing. I mean, if Sabian has one, and maybe I'm just missing it, I'll buy one, because I like to incorporate the bell a lot into my playing, especially when there's a moment of silence and it's kind of like a ding, and then you all come in. And usually when we're rehearsing, and we get to certain parts where we do the, like, everyone's cuts out, it's silent, and I do the ding, there's usually like a, oh, what? I don't know. I can't explain. It's just kind of like a silly...
I know what you're talking about. I can hear it in my head as you're saying it.
I mean, I do it a few times on this album. I mean, next time you listen to it, just imagine me grinning like an idiot every time I hit the ding.
Well, it's kind of cool because it's kind of an old school thing that they used to do all the time too. So it's kind of nice, you know, that you're bringing it back.
Bring it back, yeah. I don't know why I like it so much. I just do. I don't know. I started doing it, and I obviously I'm not the only one that does it. But when I started doing it, I'm like, you know what? I like this. I don't know.
Well, it's funny. Well, now you're gonna have to do like Rototoms and stuff like that because they're making a big comeback too. And
don't you test me.
Because you hear it now. You haven't heard it for a long time, especially with all this extreme metal drumming. Then all of a sudden, people like Nicholas Barker are bringing back the Rototoms, and I'm like, I heard a song from them, and I'm like, excuse me, but did I just hear Rototoms in there? And it's awesome. I love hearing it, and they just add a whole different element, I think, to the music. And even in extreme music, you know, it's not all progressive that you have to use a rototom, and, you know, so I just think it's kind of cool. But you have fun with your bell for now.
I will, and I'll let you know if I bring in the rototom.
Oh, I'm sure I'll notice.
Yeah, I mean, I only play with one bass drum right now. For example, I would love to have two. My band's been trying to push me to get a second bass drum forever. For me, it's like, okay, if you guys want to help pay for it, and you want to carry it when we're loading in and out, then I'll get one. But right now, I play a double kick pedal, and I'm okay with that. But man, I don't know, the two bass drums just looks awesome.
Well, it's like you said, when they want to all help you load that crap in and out, then that's all. You'll have to make them sign a contract because they're always say they're going to do it, but then when it's time, they all disappear. Yeah,
no, I mean, I gotta give a shout out and props to my band, because a lot of times after we play, I'm such a schmoozer. I mean, most of us are in the band, but I'm probably the biggest schmoozer, and so I'll usually be the one, like, I usually try to get to the merch table. Everybody wants to talk after a show, so like I'll be out schmoozing, and the band is so awesome with helping me load out my gear. Like, I'll always load in my gear, set everything up. I'll try to take everything down as much as I can, but those guys have been really supportive, and it's kind of a verbal agreement, like, okay, Sam's going to go to merch, or Sam's going to talk to people, and we'll help with the stuff. So big thanks to those guys, because I'm sure they don't always like it, and I'm not forcing them to do it. I'm just, half the time I disappear, and I don't mean to, and time flies, and then they're like, Sam, we need to load out, can you get your stuff? And I'm like, okay, hold on.
So, Sam, if people want to learn more about you as a drummer, because I think you have your own separate site as well as a band, what are the best sites for them to go to?
Yeah, I've got Twitter. I don't use it as much for my personal, like, drumming stuff, but you can go to facebook.com/Sam Landa Drums, or just look up Samantha Landa Drummer on Facebook. So that's my personal drumming page, so you can follow what I'm working on, Dead Asylum stuff, if I do any other projects, any other bands. I've got some new live videos, actually, that'll be coming out soon, so you can do that. And then, yeah, Dead Asylum is on Facebook as well, thedeadasylum.com. But other than that, I think that's probably the best places to find me and find the band.
All right, Sam, well, thanks for taking the time out to do this with us here today, and we hope to see you out on tour soon, maybe in Massachusetts.
Oh, fingers crossed. Thank you so much for having me.